Hey guys, welcome to what's probably going to be the first and the last episode of this season. Um, I just woke up to the news that Jeremy Lin's injury is actually season ending. I'm pretty sure you guys already know the news, so I'm not really going to go into the injury so much because I'm sure everybody already read about it and stuff. So honestly, what I wanted to talk about was kind of like what can we expect from now? Like where do we go from here? What's gonna happen? And also I wanted to give it's kind of like it's tough. It's tough. I mean, watching that game, watching Lin not being able to get up, and the commentators saying that Lin is down, he doesn't get up. Um, it was a tough night, tough morning, and I cannot even imagine what Lin must be going through. I mean, the video of him realizing what had happened when he was on the floor is literally heartbreaking. And the thing about Lin is that, when I became a fan, the first game that I watched was the Knicks against the Lakers. Um, but the reason really why I wanted to watch that game was because I've heard of Jeremy Lin on the news and friends and family and stuff like that. But, when I heard about him, I Googled him to see who he was or whatever. And then I found out that he's a Christian and then I saw like his character and the person that he was. And that was what attracted me to like follow him and watch him play. And then like when I watched him play, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, and then instantly I became a fan and I started following him since, and I have followed him since. But the main thing about Jeremy Lin, it's that, and the reason why I follow him, it's not about his basketball skills. Even though I love his basketball skills and I love watching him play, and I've watched probably like 90% of all his games since that Lakers game. Um, but it's not really just that. It's really his character, the person that he is, how thoughtful he is, his values, his moral, his leadership, his role, his just role model, being a role model in the NBA the way that he is. You can see that with even like the issue with what happened with his hair and all that stuff. Like he's very thoughtful. He cares about people. He loves people, and it's a tragedy. It's like a cruel joke to see someone like that who, you see him in the shoot around before the game starts and he's just smiling all the time, just excited to play again. Um, and the first game of the season, 25 minutes in, he gets a season-ending injury. Um, and his expression says it all. He only played 36 games last season, and I could tell how excited he was to come back and how hard he worked um, to get back into the court and being able to have a break in season. And honestly, if you saw my other videos about my predictions, I thought that Jeremy Lin was about to have the best season of his career. I mean, all the stars were aligned for him to do that. And even in this game, 25 minutes, he had 18 points and 4 assists. So it's heartbreaking, it's crushing that Lin, who signed with the Brooklyn Nets after having a good season with Charlotte Hornets, he hasn't had a break since New York. I mean, think about it. Linsanity happened, and like 15 games in, he gets injured. Misses the rest of the season. All right? Signs with the Houston Rockets, about to be the face of the franchise. Here comes James Harden. Here comes Kevin McHale. He's relegated to not even playing fourth quarters. All right? Gets injured in the playoffs, a chest concussion. can't even play the playoffs, loses his starting job in the second season. All right. Then in the third season gets traded to the Lakers to play with Kobe Bryant, which I like Kobe, but to be honest with you, his character and his person in the court, you don't wish anybody to play with Kobe really. Um, Disastrous season. He you know Byron Scott puts him in the bench, just disastrous. Then he gets to the Hornets, which he had a great season. It was great to watch, but he was the sixth man. He was a bench player, and it was for 1 year, 2 point something $1 million contract. So he was just trying to revigorate his career, and he did. And he was able to sign with the Brooklyn Nets last year, to start to be a face of the franchise, to be a leader, to finally, after 4 years, show the NBA what kind of player he can be. I remember watching him talk before the last season started, talking about how he just wanted to see how good he could actually be as a basketball player, and that this was the best opportunity that he had to do so. And we all knew that, and we were all so excited to watch him play in a new team and stuff like that. And even though the Brooklyn Nets were not a great team, just being able to see Jeremy Lin play his style of game again after so many seasons thrown to the, I don't want to say thrown to the garbage, but so many seasons where it's just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, not from Lin but his circumstances. And then like 2 weeks in, he gets a hamstring injury, and it's not season ending. He tries to come back, and then he re-injures himself again. Ended up playing 36 games, and honestly, out of those 36, he might have only played 25, really. Um, so from that, we know how hard he has worked this offseason. I mean, how excited he was to get back on the court, and especially with all these new teammates. I mean, look back at when he said that he believed that they could make the playoffs. That this was a season like he was so excited to start. Um, and for this to happen in the first game of the season is just, it's like, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know how to say or what to say. And, I feel for Lin. He must be going through a lot right now. But here's the thing. Like I said at the beginning, the reason why I follow Jeremy Lin is because of his character, his just the type of person, his person, like the type of person that he is, and he tweeted yesterday night after what happened, saying that literally God is in control and God is always good. And probably I would assume that at that point he knew. At that point, he probably, like the doctors probably already told him, look, this is what it looks like. And Lin is a smart dude. When that injury happened and he was on the floor and he touched his knee, he knew. He probably had a pretty good idea that this was it. Like, it was done. So even through all that adversity and even through going through a season-ending injury like this, he still tweets saying that God is good. And God is in control. And at the end of the day, that's the only reassurance that we can get from this situation. When we talk about God being in control and God being good, it doesn't mean that God is going to do what we want him to do. It doesn't mean that things are going to happen how we want them to happen. It doesn't mean that we'll be able to achieve everything that we wanted to achieve, or our dreams or our hopes. It means that when bad things happen, we can rest in God's faithfulness and God's sovereignty. And to see Lin doing that in this type of circumstance, knowing what has happened throughout all these years, it's just another testament of his character and who he is as a person, and why I follow him, and why I love watching him play, and why even through this situation, being hopeful that he will be coming back. So that's what we can hope for. That's what we can rest on. And it's just God's faithfulness and God's sovereignty in this situation. Obviously, praying for Lynn and for strength, especially emotionally and spiritually, because it's not easy to say God is in control, God is good, when things like that happen. When you spend months and months and months working as hard as you can to achieve something, to just play basketball, enjoy this new season with this new team, to show the world what you can do, and 25 minutes in, it's over. You know, it's soul crushing, and I cannot even fathom what he must have gone through during that moment. But one thing that I want to talk about is what's not gonna happen. And hear me out. You're gonna hear a lot of rumors, probably about Lynn being traded or Lynn being waived or whatever you want to call it. Um, and to be honest, if this wasn't the Nets, I would be really worried about Lynn's career at this moment. If this was any other team, I would probably be extremely worried about Lynn's career. But here's the good thing: Lynn is not going to be traded. Lynn is not going to be waived. The Brooklyn Nets are not. They're not gonna throw Lynn out in the sidewalk while he's down. They're not gonna do that. This is not that type of organization. It's just not. Lynn has a player option, and I would have speculated that with Lynn having a great season this year, he would opt out and get a bigger contract, and probably his last contract of his career. But that's obviously not going to happen. Lynn is going to opt in his player option. That's obvious. He has no other choice. And he's going to come back. And he's going to come back next season. And, you know, honestly, I don't know what to expect. But I will tell you that Lynn's game is probably going to change. The way that he plays is probably going to be different. I think at this point he's 29, and with this injury, it will kind of make him have to change the way that he plays. He has improved a lot in his 3-point shot, so I would expect Lynn to become more like Steve Nash. I would expect him to work this offseason, this whole year on being somebody more like Steve Nash, where he can shoot threes, make the right plays, not necessarily depend so much on his speed and aggression, but more on his craftiness to be able to get to the basket and distribute the ball and get some assists and get other players going. His role with the Nets next season is up in the air. It's impossible to speculate what would happen. Will Lynn be a bench player, 6 man? Maybe. I mean, and I think that we need to be realistic and understand that might be a possibility. It doesn't mean that it might happen. Lynn might end up coming back to being a starter. It all depends on his recovery and how he comes out of this injury. And kind of what the Nets have in mind for next season. But honestly, I expect Lynn to stay with the Nets through next season. And hopefully, I mean, honestly, I pray to God that Lynn could have a break. His career, honestly, following his career for so many years, it's been just one thing after another, after another, after another. If to be honest, like the only season that I could say that Lynn at least had, some, that it was peaceful times and it was good times was with the Hornets. And I'm from Charlotte, so I watched him play a couple of times, and I was happy to have him here in Charlotte because the organization is a good one too. But it's just one thing after the other. And again, the thing about Lynn's career is his character and his belief in God and his faith in God, and that's what is gonna get him through this. Um, and at the end of the day, I posted a tweet last night, like replying or quote retweeting Jeremy Lin's tweet. And basically, the only verse that I could think of at that moment was that God works um, everything. God works everything for the good of those who love Him. Okay, and to us as fans and basketball fans and Lin fans, this is terrible. This is heartbreaking. This is crushing. For him, it's the same. It's obviously it'll be way worse than us. Um, but God works everything for the good of those who love Him. I cannot tell you what's going to happen in the future. I cannot tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. But one thing I can tell you is that this experience, this whole process that Lin is going through in his life, not his NBA career, not just his basketball career, but his life, because he actually has an actual life. He's actually a person. He's not just an NBA player. But that this process and this story that is being written about him, it has a happy ending. Like, it has a good that is coming, whatever that is. Um, so those are my thoughts about what happened. Honestly, I'm heartbroken. I'm probably not gonna even be watching the NBA. You guys know from just listening to my other videos how excited I was for this season. But I had a bad feeling, man. Like, after seeing Hayward's injury, like, you couldn't like help but be worried that something like this would happen, and it did. Um, but to all the fans and everybody that follows and everything, just stay strong. And just say your prayers for him, and we'll be back next season. I mean, there's nothing that we can do right now. We can't look at the past. We can't pass blame on anything or anybody. These things just happen. And the only thing that we can do is believe that God is in control. That's what I believe. I know that that's what Jeremy Lin believes. And that's what needs to be a reassurance with this whole situation. So, my prayers go out to Jeremy Lin and also to Gordon Hayward. Um, this is terrible. I hope that there's no more injuries during the season, at least not season-ending injuries, because it's just terrible, man. It's just terrible knowing that these people put so much work, so much time, so much effort, so much sacrifice, and for all that to be washed away from one second to the other is just terrible. So anyways, that's it for this episode. Again, this is probably gonna be my last episode, because I'm not really gonna be watching much. This is just terrible, and unless there's updates on Lin and stuff like that, I'll still be maybe tweeting and stuff like that. But yeah, I will see you guys next season. Stay safe, and don't jump to conclusions with all this stuff. It is what it is. Just trust in God. Trust that Lin will come back stronger than ever. Um, and that's it. That's it for my episode. You guys take care. Be careful out there and be safe. I'm out.